LEGO Star Wars Set 75094 Imperial Shuttle Tydirium. It's a 2015 release and comes with 5 minifigures. It has 937 pieces and goes for about $100 US. This is the review for LEGO Star Wars Set 75094 Imperial Shuttle Tydirium. This version is supposed to be the one from Star Wars Episode 6 where the Rebels, Han Solo, Leia, Chewbacca, and a couple Rebel troopers hijack the Imperial Shuttle and use it for their own, instead of the one that's typically used as the shuttle for the Emperor. And as you can see, there's a pretty nice kind of jungle indoor theme going on, so it's pretty true to the movies itself. The minifigures here, they're all pretty well rounded. There's only a couple that I have a little issue with. Here, Chewbacca. He's very dark and he's got very light on the front. It's quite a departure from the past versions of Chewbacca in Lego form. It looks a little bit awkward to me. It works overall as far as the design, but the color scheme, it's a little too light on his face, a little too dark around it. It's a little too much contrast. Han Solo here, it is kind of nice. They gave him like a full jacket approach where it goes onto the legs and the torso, and it's not only on the torso. He does have two facial expressions. One's his typical smirk and one's a little more concerned, worried, and tense. and he comes with this blaster. It's nice because this is a new Han Solo figure we haven't seen yet, as opposed to his just typical standard form. Here we also have an Indoor Rebel Trooper. This particular one I have no problem with. It's really accurate, it's a nice look to him. He does only have one facial expression, but you don't really need much out of a side character like this. The torso detail is a really nice camouflage detail on the front and back. There's good detail on the front of the legs too. This one is the one I have a little bit of a problem with. He has a blonde beard, but from far off he kind of just looks like some weird like monster thing wrong with his face or something. It's just kind of a weird idea in the design. He does only have one facial expression, but I don't know what it is. Other people I've noticed have a problem with his blonde beard too. It's just odd looking. And here we have Leia. This particular one, she does have her little cookie thing used to tempt the Ewoks, and this is a nice new type of material. It's a thinner cloth kind of cape, and she does have a little accessory port on top where you could put a crown or something that's usually with the girl style Legos. But this Leia, I don't know what it is, it just bugs me for some reason. It just doesn't look to me like the one in the actual movie. Like here, she has two facial expressions, that's nice, so there is some detail involved. And I do appreciate the detail in the cape, but I think this looks a little bit better with it off. It's a little more accurate. I don't know. It's something about the pants. It just feels weird to me. I've seen episode 6 a million times, and this, I feel like, seems the most accurate to me. This is taking parts off of the other troopers. So it's really kind of mixing up what she comes looking like, and you're just kind of mixing and matching. I particularly like this look better for her. It comes with 31 spare parts and a brick separator. Now, as far as the actual overall design, it's very, very accurate. It's not quite as accurate as the UCS version, Ultimate Collector Series, because those obviously are made specifically for perfect detail, and they're a lot more expensive. But I like how they were clever with how they worked in these different rods and Technic pins and lightsaber hilts just as guns for the front, and you can see there's some good articulation. The two missile ports here are pretty clever. Here I'm going to shoot my least two favorite minifigures from the set. Han, yeah, that dirty scoundrel. We know he shot first and he blasted him point blank from the back. And then on the other side we have the same thing going on. It's a nice little hidden port. Shoot that version of Leia, which I also don't like. Chewbacca's gonna do it. We have these two entry ports for the actual troops to go in. As you can see here, you can fold them any way you want. It's not like there's any kind of real specific way it goes as an automated form of lifting up. As you lift it up, you see here there's this extra missile in here. You have one on each side. You can just take it off really easy. It's held by two clips. Now, as far as the actual cargo bin, we have this little crate here, and it's used to hold two thermal detonators, as we know from Star Wars. And it comes with two, and there's a separate one where you can have a spare one, but they just go right here in the middle. It's held by basic clips, and you just set it in place on a few little single pieces that will hold it there, and you put one troop next to it. As you can see, it just kind of clips in that basic one, so it's really easy to get in and out, and you can just shut the door. On this side, you just put two seats in here for the two different characters, whoever you want to put there, and this little backpack here. And you have the display board in the back here with the actual screen of where they're heading, which is really cool to me. And you have the side door come down. So for the front here, I do like how they handled the cockpit and the front of it in general, and these two little panels for the controls. It's an odd setup. You don't clip their legs into place on studs. It's just little slide pieces where you basically work it between the two legs, so it just holds the right between the two legs to hold it in place, so it's really easy to take in and out, which is a nice way because it's kind of hard to work them into this area because it's small. And as you see, there's some nice little kind of grill options on the front and the bottom sides, and you can see it a little better here. It's just several clips lined up, and it's really easy just to shut all these little ports to put every character in there, and I really like how it's set up. And you can see their face like this. It's nice. And this is one issue I feel like no one's talked about in the reviews. I don't like how these can move around because you can expose the little open hole and it just doesn't look nice. There's nothing holding it where it's just flat. But on the sides here for the main flaps, this is a pretty clever way of handling without putting studs side by side. You have Technic pieces holding a bunch of plates together, which almost looks like a total frenzy of plates, but as you can see here, it's actually pretty durable. It can hold itself. The Technic pieces being the main cage of this whole system, as you can see, do hold it well. And these three Technic pieces that run down the back dorsal fin, or so, as you want to call it, for the ship, do connect down to the body, so that's what gives it the full structure throughout, is Technic pieces holding on the main wings, Technic pieces holding on the top and to the front. And you have this one sticker here, which is really the only thing besides that inside paneling. But these are ratcheted pieces, and as you can see, they just clip down, they go at whatever increments the ratcheting will work, and the paneling itself will hold. As you can see, this is the way you actually want to fly it around, but you can't display it this way. I actually have it one ratchet down from being completely down, but there's no way to set it down unless you have some specific stand for it. But as you can see here, if you do want for play or durability, if you hold it by this middle piece, it's not going to fall out. As you'd expect, something like this maybe just pop right off as soon as you hold it by it, because most of the weight is right in the center and you're just holding it by this flimsy piece. But the Technic pieces locked it all in. You have these back boosters, which I really think look really good because it's lots of flat pieces. You have the curved pieces and no studs exposed. It looks really nice. On the bottom here, you have all these flat rounded pieces in order to have a smoother set, and you have this landing gear here. It is connected, so if you move one, the other one will move alongside of it, which is nice. But the one flaw with this is when you put it out, it actually makes it a little less stable. It's actually more stable if you just leave it in normal position. It's really easy to knock over. But you also have this bottom piece, which is the trap door. So you could get a guy out like this, but it's so low to the ground that there's no practical way to actually make it work. It's a nice feature, and I appreciate the fact that they added it in just for accuracy and the whole movie scheme in general, but when you have it like this, there's no way to practically use it unless you pick up the entire ship and then you put it in like this. So it's a fun idea, but it just didn't really work in this whole idea for this system design, and this little piece will hold it there. My experience from owning this for about a month or so is you can only display it like this, like a beached fish, or like a starfish, or you could set it on a jar of peanuts, unless you actually want to go buy something or build a Lego set in order to hold it all up. But here's it in comparison to some of these recent summer sets that also came out for this, and I figured we gotta have a way to see them fight the stormtroopers so it feels a little more accurate. So as you can see, it is a little hard, so you can just stomp them if you want. Here we have stormtroopers if you want to see it in its full Imperial look, and you can make them pilot it if you want. These are from another set, but it's kind of cool. And of course you can do Darth Vader and Darth Sidious themselves and just put them in there, and that way this whole thing has the more evil Imperial vibe going for it anyway. So in conclusion, I do think it's clever that they made this an episode 6 version where the Rebels hijack it and they're not using the actual Imperial one, which they've done for every ship version of this in Lego form so far. But it's really well designed. I was really hyped for it, and they did a great job. It's definitely worth getting. It's a great set. I did review most of the other summer sets that came out alongside of this particular Star Wars one, and there are a few more, so click here to see any of the other ones I did, and stay subscribed if you want to see more of these reviews.